Hello everyone and welcome back to Recall Gaming. This is the Metal Gear Solid 1 Integral Alternate Round Walkthrough Part 5. I had to get a lot of words out there because there's a lot going on in this walkthrough as I do post commentary. But we are picking up right where we left off from the Hind boss fight, and we're going to go all the way to the moment that we pick up the PAL key card after a rat eats it in a drainage ditch. Definitely one of the more out there moments in Metal Gear, and that is saying something. And even for just Kojima as a whole, and this is a guy who had piss as a weapon in Death Stranding. So yeah, having to kill a rat to retain the card. Although I think I do this pretty well. I think in this run, if you can replicate what I did, I'm pretty good now at getting to that key card before the rat does. I think you've just got to run like hell. But what's interesting about this, whereas the last part was kind of all action and we didn't really get to show any of the alternate round stuff off because it was all standard Metal Gear fare. There's going to be a bit more stealth in here and some really interesting guard routines where I feel like with this alternate round where they mix up the guard routines, they kind of actually just sort of said F it right at the end because there's some really weird stuff out there and it almost makes me wish that I'd had live commentary, I'd done this playthrough live, because if you'd have heard my reaction to some of them, I won't spoil because it won't be in this part, it'll be in the next part, the final part 6. But there was a moment where I was genuinely like, what the actual F? I'm... if I'd have been doing it live, there'd have been a lot of swear words coming out because I'd have found it very difficult to contain myself. One side note, if you've forgotten or not watched the previous parts, we're trying to do this without using any rations. I didn't stick to that philosophy at the start of the playthrough and it would have made it more interesting, but it makes moments like these a little bit more tricky as we're going to have the famous elevator battle, which is a sequence directly ripped out of Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake, a game I still in 2025 not played. I need to rectify that at some point. But yeah, this moment is kind of like whatever strategy works for you. I like to try and break the necks if I can, but I end up getting in this bad routine where I had to just kind of start flipping people, and it's kind of crazy because everybody's just flying around because I'm just flipping. When really I needed to like get one and just break the neck because the minute you start getting one or two down, this becomes much more manageable. I'm going to get that started here. Quick tip: when you've broken somebody's neck, immediately equip your weapon and you can then get out of the animation quicker. If you're not sure how to move and shoot, you hold X while shooting. Nice little strategy here. But you don't want to take too much damage if you're doing not using rations because Sniper Wolf, the sniper rifle from her, the PSG, does a lot of damage to the player. So this can get a little bit tricky. But once you take two guards out, this is pretty easy stuff. So wait for him. I messed that up because I should have just gone for the neck break, but that might be him down. It is. So I could have done that smoother. Stun grenades are a godsend here. Sadly, you can't knock the guards out because if you could do that, you could just endlessly flip them. That might be possible on Twin Snakes. That's a game I've never played. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get a Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Part Volume 2 at some point. I mean, I think the devs at Konami have pretty much admitted that. So, I sincerely hope, I really hope we don't get 4 Peace Walker 5 because there's no need for 1, there's no need for 5. 4 and Peace Walker, definitely. And I would love to see Portable Ops, but as much as I'd love to see Portable Ops, I'd love to see Twin Snakes. There's a lot of us who've never got to experience that game, and for all its flaws, it'd be a lot of fun to explore that. And then add Portable Ops as an extra, because Portable Ops was actually a lot of fun. I have some great memories of playing that game. I remember I was on a trip to the seaside away with my parents, and I got that game bought, and I don't think I spent much more time on the seaside. I just fell in love with that game. But to be fair, it didn't ruin my holiday too much, but I do remember playing it over like the next year non-stop. I think I might have actually beat that game twice, which is a lot for a PSP game that takes a lot out of the player. So, but I remember like bringing that into school and like at a young age and playing it. I absolutely just loved that game to bits. So I'd love a chance to revisit it. I know it's got a lot of warts and all with the whole recruit mechanic, but it's a great, predecessor for Peace Walker. But anyway, I'll stop rambling because we've got a boss fight, and this is a pretty good one. And it's something that they, I think MGS4 kind of shows you what they wanted to do with this boss fight, but you kind of see, it's a bit primitive here on the PS1. I think you got a sense of what Kojima wanted in MGS3 for a sniper fight, but Quite like. I've always had a soft spot for this fight. I think it's a good one. I think it's way better than the first one because you can actually move about a bit, and you've got more agency over what you can do. And I think I might do this taking no damage. I might be wrong about that, but this was the first attempt, I think, and it just shows the difference. And I don't like it more because it's easier. Certainly not. But I just think there's more going on, and Sniper Wolf can take some really interesting patterns, and you can lose her pretty quick. But the trick is to just stay on top of her. When she goes behind that hill, like the hill part, she's obviously going to be moving, continually going one way, so you've got to try and get her there. Also, I got hit. I'm a liar. Body armor really negates the damage on that, but you can get some good shots on her here when she's running, and that's something that's a little bit more tricky in the comms tower. So when she's behind a tree like this, just have a hover over one side, pick a side, and then use the D-pad if you're on the wrong side like that, so the sensitivity doesn't throw you off with the sticks. You can get in a really good pattern like this where she's constantly showing herself, revealing, and you can just get a few shots off. Whenever I see this sort of image, it always reminds me, I'm sure there's an episode in The Simpsons where Homer gets really fit for a film, but then he got out of shape when his personal trainer left, and it keeps showing the finished film where it's just switching between moments where Homer's really buff, and then there's ones where literally he's like sticking out behind cover like that in an action sequence. So it always makes me think of that. I'm probably the only one in the world who thinks like that. But yeah, I took a couple of hits here, so I'm a bit of a liar, but I just like that you can seemingly back off and you can sort of see the laser and get a chance at seeing where she is. So, as I say, I much prefer this fight to the first one. It's a good one. And as I say, it's not a case of it just because it's easier. I genuinely just much prefer it. And the boss fight after this one is my favourite. So I'm in a happy place right now with this game. So we've just got to get a few more hits and this fight will be done. And it's, you know, the Sniper Wolf fights are probably some of the only fights where playing them on hard and extreme isn't that difficult. Not difficult, sorry, but different. The only thing that's going to be more is that your damage is higher and you're not going to have health items as plentiful, because normal is very kind with a 5. As you can see here, you can really lose her, but the game's quite fair. Like, you're not likely to get popped off too much. Because she could have finished me then and there probably. So I was very grateful for that. I'm spamming like a... Oh, here we go. It looks like it's going to be like last shot. Next shot wins. Yes, I do remember now. So As has actually played this and recorded it. Yeah, so I took a bad hit there, and it's Last Chance Saloon. I know she's one hit, but so am I. So at this point, I really ought to take off the body armor because it's not going to do anything for me. So yeah, I was very nervous at this point because I really wanted to do this first time. And spoilers, because this is a post-commentary play at walkthrough intended to help you get through the game, it does work. So just take your time. If you ever get caught like that, just take a moment to breathe and reset yourself. And if you can't find her quick, just go back there and keep repeating that pattern, and you will find her eventually. It's just a case of playing this boss fight a lot and know how to do it. And of course, for those of you who are probably thinking, I mean, I love what a shot that was. You can tell I play Sniper Elite. But if you're struggling, just look up the Nikita glitch. Not a glitch, or you can just cheese that fight with a Nikita. Just look that up. Nikita Sniper Wolf, and it's done. I wanted to do this for people who wanted to do this legitimately. I probably should have done a side-by-side comparison and shown you that strategy, but all you do is go to the side bit I was hiding, fire a Nikita missile launcher, and you can use like the... you can sort of like use the hill where it like banks up a bit. The missile will sort of ride upward, and it allows you to hit her, and there's nothing you can do. It feels very cheap to do it, kind of like fighting Vamp with the Nikita missile in MGS2, where you can get him to glitch, but on some of them higher difficulties, sometimes, man, it can be difficult, but you are robbing yourself of a great challenge. But if you're just trying to get through the game on hardest difficulty and you want to say you did it, it's in the game, so have at it, is what I say. Take great care when going in these huts like I am. Just using your thermal goggles, your mind detector, whatever, just because the game is throwing a lot of tricks at you here. I think this area has an item for every weapon that you've owned in the game, or any item. So I think there's a lot of supplies to be had here, and you can even come back here with the level 7 card, but I've never found it particularly worth doing. There is also a truck here, which would imply that you can fast travel here, but I don't know if you'd be able to fast travel back. So I should have just made a save and tried it, because I've always been curious. Because I think one of those is a cardboard box, so you might be able to go all the way back to the helipad. I don't know. Or it might just be a one-way ticket, this fast travel thing. Fast travel is something that's in like all the Metal Gear games, but rarely sort of done to its full potential. In this game, it's very limited. You can use it to sort of perhaps backtrack a little bit quicker, but I think it works out not saving you any time getting to the sniper rifle, unfortunately. MGS2 has the parcel room, which is limited value, but I have done a couple times. But other than that, that's a great. MGS3's is actually probably the only useful one. It's great for getting back into Groznygrad, and you can get into the weapons lab so much easier and with a lot less hassle. So it's actually got some use there. But again, it's still limited. But we're coming up to a tricky section here. We're also coming up to the bit that scares the living daylights out of you on your first time through, because the game over screen pretty much appears. Obviously it says Metal Gear Solid as opposed to game over, but same noise and everything. It just, that just kills me every time. But this next room is the Motherlode. I must have died a good 10 times here in this next room. And you're going to see some very weird guard routine. And this is what I mean when the game, at the end of this alternate round, starts going very crazy. So this took me a long time to figure out. So follow this pretty carefully. I'm straight away running because I'm going to try and beat this guard as quick as I can. So wait for him to turn around and face you. Obviously don't move at that point. Well, sorry, he turns away. Mash R1. Don't go too quick or you'll hit his vision cone. But that's the first guard done. If you dither, it actually gets harder because they've put a gun turret. They've put a gun turret there. Which is like, man, why weren't they doing that earlier in the game? If they'd followed this routine more with the alternate round, they actually would have been onto something even better here. For what it's worth, I've loved this alternate round, but despite a few quirks, which I think are pretty bad. But yeah, they really went all out on this room. Because this guard, who does normally patrol the bottom, comes all the way up here, and he will not leave you alone now. So this took a long time to figure out. Unfortunately, I'm going to have some guard interaction here, because will he see the box? No, I don't think he will, actually. Sometimes they see the box, sometimes they don't. So I like to, as you know, try and not interact with the guards if I can help it. I'll only do that if I'm struggling, but the box is a great little tool because if you're not on alert in this game, they just won't bother seeing it. So I wait at the top of the stairs in the box in case I do get seen. I wait for him to go underneath me. I think I might bottle it here because there's a guard down by the door we need to go who needs to come up at the same time. So it gets pretty dicey in this the furnace room. But this is kind of like the last stealth room of the game. So as I say, they really did go all out for this one. But yeah, this guy's going to come all the way back. He'll probably see me at this point. So you've got to be a bit brave in this one if you're going to try and get past this. Or if you're not like me, just use the Soakum and just shoot people if you're not bothered about no interaction. But yeah, I think in any other Metal Gear game, he would have opened the cardboard box there, so I was very grateful that he chose not to. I think the way it works in this game is, if you're not on alert, they won't open the box. Unless they bump into you. If you're in their way, they'll knock it over. I've confirmed that. So, am I going to be brave here? I'm hoping for the sake of the video I am. I'm just trying to learn guard patterns at this point, because the crane kept killing me. I think the crane's worse on the alternate round. It's so much more malicious in like bumping into you. So yeah, no, I'm going to bottle it again and go back in the box. I'm just trying to wait for a break where I can get in between the two guards without crossing into their paths, which is kind of a redundant thing to say in a Metal Gear Solid game, because that's literally the whole way it's designed. But I'm saying it anyway. So guard's going to see the box again. He's going to leave me alone because he knows what's good for him. Yeah, I mean, the slapstick comedy of Metal Gear's stealth is something quite unique. When you compare it to Splinter Cell, which goes for such a grounded approach, but at times can also look silly in itself, but never as silly as that. I mean, yeah, Splinter Cell remake. Not something I'm going to be honest, I feel like anybody is really asking for. We just want a new Splinter Cell game. I don't want a remake. Yeah, you've got to time that. That timing's pretty tight. But here we go. Here's the weird-ass guard routine. So, watch what these two guys go on top of each other. But look at the Soliton radar. This guy's like, I thought it was a glitch. He was like going crazy. I get a good look at it, thankfully, because it took me a few times. Seeing is believing and all that. But yeah, look at this. Imagine if they'd been doing this in the first few rooms. It would have thrown me all over the shop. So here we are. He turns. It's basically to make sure the player cannot get by in any circumstance. You know, that is there specifically to catch you out. But I love it. That's what I want from the alternate round. You know, incredible, great stuff. I assume it's not a glitch. I assume he's meant to do that because it does look like a glitch and his body's all over the place. But yeah, it. How fun is that? And then he walks through the other card. It was like, I assume this is what's meant to happen, and I kind of like it really because, yeah, alternate round. I want crazy stuff. There he goes again. I can't quite believe what I'm seeing. I almost want to shoot him just for that. And the time to go is when the other guard goes with him. It's pretty easy to slip past this, actually, despite all the crazy antics from said guard. Because that's the door we need to go through right there before we have another elevator fight. But yeah, I forgot to mention earlier, you know, if you're watching this video and you fancy interacting, let me know what you want in Volume 2. I mean, do you want something like Metal Gear Solid Acid? The other PSP games, which are very different. So that would be kind of cool to see as well. But let's just get past this weird guard. Run like hell. Mashing R1 helps with the chaff grenade. Go a little bit quicker. Go through there. Job done. Well done. You've gone past probably the hardest room in the game, to be fair. So I'll give yourself a pat on the back for that. But yeah, going back to the Master Collection, there's all sorts they could do. I really just hope they don't put 5 on. I'd be so annoyed if Metal Gear Solid 5 finds its way onto a Master Collection. There's just no need. It's so easy to access MGS 5. It's not easy to access MGS 4. It's a pain in the arse. So getting MGS 4 on there is the main thing. Because for all MGS 4's faults, it's still a ton of fun. And, you know, it'd be lots of fun to have on that game. But having Peace Walker would be unbelievable because it would repopulate the co-op mode. And that would be great. Because you kind of, unfortunately, need co-op in a lot of circumstances to help you get along. But having, you know, that could be a lot of fun and maybe a chance for this channel as well to grow. Could have some co-op Metal Gear Solid action. Such a shame they never did it on any of the titles. But yeah, I'd love Portable Ops. There's a little extra Portable Ops Plus for all its little quirks. I had that one as well. As I said, Metal Gear Solid Acid, or Metal Gear Acid, whatever, take it or leave it. Obviously, you probably want Rising and Revengeance. It'd be good to play those in 60 FPS. That would be great. But anyway, yeah, this elevator is a lot harder. It is possible to flip the guards off the elevator, I'm sure. I'm sure I once did that, but yeah, this was a struggle, and this put me in a really bad spot for the upcoming boss fight, I must admit, annoyingly. So that was very disappointing. These elevator fights are purely just do not lose too much health. That is the only real advice I can give you. There's nothing much more to it other than that. Just run like hell, shoot, stun grenades, whatever works for you. Just don't take too much damage because it's going to drain your resources. On your first time through, it's an absolute nightmare because you probably are taking a lot of damage, you're getting spotted a lot. Obviously, when you're used to the game, you generally have 5 rations anyway, so it's not too bad. But yeah, Master Collection Volume 2, excited because it was easy for the first one. Just dump MGS 1, 2, and 3 on there. The other one's a little bit more tricky, and I just hope they include as much as possible. Just don't put 5 on there. But I think the obvious choice is 4, Peace Walker, and Rising Revengeance. It would be actually really amazing to play Rising Revengeance. It already was at 60 FPS, but having the ability to play at 60 FPS, plus having it, you could add a bit more colour to it, and colour, that is just the wrong term. I think you know what I mean. Like, you could have a much more vivid picture, having it running at 4K, all the bells and whistles that we love. So, that would be fantastic, because Rising was a hell of a game, despite a few flaws. But I think it was made on a short time scale, so you've got to give props to Platinum Games. They did a stunning job with that. Shame we never got the sequel with Grey Fox fighting nanomachine zombies. Although, when I hear that, that makes me think of Metal Gear Survive now. So, cheers, Konami. Watching from Metal Gear Survive on there, Jesus Christ. That was something else. Never played that, thank God. Bloody Fortnite original rip-off mode. But, yeah, Rising Revengeance, and then throw in Twin Snakes and Portable Ops as extras, like they did. Because they threw loads on this Master Collection with the whole Snake's Revenge on there and the original Metal Gear on NES. Like, a lot of props for throwing all that stuff on, because they really didn't have to. Those are relics lost to time. So, but now we can play them, and that's cool. Lean snake back against the elevator if you want a cool look. Or lift. It's a lift, isn't it? Don't be fancy like me. But we're coming up to my favourite boss fight, which was a real challenge because of my very limited amount of health, is what I wanted to say. But I think this boss fight might go on like a good 10 minutes. So you could enjoy the struggles of this. My strategy very much is claymores. So you can sort of take it or leave it. I used to use Nikita as a kid, but I think in the end I've kind of moved away from that strategy. But yeah, claymores and the mine detector, those are my main two weapons. The trick though, Vulcan Raven's AI is very interesting and fantastic, if I may say. If you just mine a certain part of the map, he won't go there. He's got a bit of a sixth sense, and to some people that might seem a little cheap, but to me it makes sense. So you've sort of got to mine the right areas. Getting the middle can be quite key, and the outside, but you've always got to make sure, bear in mind, that you need an exit route. You can't just trap yourself in, because yeah, he might trip one, but how the hell are you going to get out without blowing yourself up? Because this ain't Call of Duty. Your claymores are going to blow you up, so there's nothing more frustrating to die into your own claymore. We've all done it, so be wary not to do it. And that was a close one, because one hit, I can only take 2 hits, I think, at this point. I try some C4, because there's all sorts of tools you can use here, but remembering where you put C4 and then trying to catch him out with it is a pretty tricky thing to do. So I don't think I had the joy that I was hoping. I might get him here, I can't remember. Yeah, because the C4's right there. This might work. No. You can tell the frame rate really struggles, by the way, when you lean back against the wall. But I must say, I'm enjoying this sort of era that we're living in of, like, PS1 classics getting not remade, but just ported over in their original format. I mean, Tomb Raider's getting some real justice done. But just to break off, I mean, look at Vulcan Raven's AI. He's really careful. And he's got to step very much over the claymore. Despite his big frame, they don't give you much generosity. He really has to go right over the claymore. Just brushing next to it isn't going to set it off incredibly. But yeah, I like this boss fight. In fact, I love this boss fight because it actually plays into the whole mechanic of the game. This is a stealth game. It's about sneaking past enemies, and this boss fight taps into that. Whereas the others are all kind of shootouts or fist fights and stuff, which is all cool. But this one actually relies on, a bit of stealth, which is something different and cool. So that's why I like it. It relies on the game's main strategy. You still got to be aggressive in your stealth and defensive approach, but you can't take this guy head on. Like he could when he was in a tank, which seems really odd now you think about it. And did Siphon Filter... I mean, Siphon Filter kind of tried to play into that a bit. Siphon Filter 2, with the Gregorov boss fight, the Gregorov imposter at the park where you had to shoot all the lights, kind of played into a similar theme with that. But in Siphon Filter 1, not all. I think all Siphon Filter 1's boss fights are straight up gunfights, like this game is. You even have a boss fight with the helicopter, so that was literally ripped straight out of something else. But Siphon Filter is a lot more action and enemy interaction focused, so it's less of a problem. You can get Vulcan Raven in an interesting pattern here like this, where he's, you put a few good claymores together, he's gonna, take a lot of damage like that. You can really do some heavy work. So the trick is to sort of, once you get the first hit, you can get a bit more comfortable, get used to following him. Cut him off at his front, put a claymore where he's going to be, and then try and go behind him. Don't let him turn around, but put one behind him, and, at some point he's got to, go in one of those two directions. Sometimes he goes over the claymore and doesn't seem to do too much damage. I don't know what that's about, but that's just how the game kind of works. But yeah, the frame rate. I really wish... This doesn't run at 60, does it? Unfortunately, does MGS 1. Unlike 2 and 3. It's a shame we won't... I don't think we're going to get a patch that'll ever sort that, because I know Tomb Raider 4, 5 and 6, and that's why I mentioned Tomb Raider earlier, but Tomb Raider 4, 5 and 6 remasters, well, 4 and 5, which are PS1 games, have been... You can now play them at 60 FPS on the original graphics, which you couldn't do with Tomb Raider 1, 2 and 3 on their collections. So it's great to be able to see some PS1 games getting played at 60 FPS in their original graphical format, because it feels like a very rare treat, that, and it's very much appreciated. It'd be great if one day we could get a patch to this game to allow that. If I could see some other PS1 games getting on the PS5 current hardware, I'm desperate for Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor Underground, because Medal of Honor as a whole, as a series, is like you just can't play it in like 2025 at all. There's just nothing because the series stopped on PS3, and you know, in its heyday it was PS1, PS2, and then a few on PS3. So it's just totally like lost to time to an extent, which is absolutely gutting, really. But I mean, even on that PS1 classics or whatever that they bring to PS5, it'd be cool if we could get that. I mean, look at those claymores. How did he not set that one off? Jesus. You just remember, you can always pick up a claymore by crawling over it if you want to try it. You know, if you're getting a bad one that you just won't set off like those two, which I probably should have done, but it's a pretty big risk to try and pick up claymores in this fight because it slows you down, obviously. But yeah, Medal of Honor, man. I mean, one, I'm desperate to see that series make a comeback, but you know, it'd be nice to see some restoration of the old ones. I still think there's a place for Medal of Honor in today's FPS market, massively. But you're going to get moments like this in the fight where the more and more he shoots down crates, he's going to block himself in, and you're going to get him with some easy claymores like this. Like, oh, that was close. But then he's immediately going to hit that one. So you get to a point where he kind of can't... He's doomed to lose. What I like about his fight is it starts off where you're like very much the loser. But by the end of it, once he's low on health and he's cut off his own areas of manoeuvring, he's in real trouble. Like this, where he's going to set off the same claymores all the time now. And this fight's going to be over. Beautifully done, if I may say so myself. Not a speck of damage. But we're coming now, not quite towards the end of the video, but that's the end of sort of all the action. And that Vulcan Raven fight for me took quite a while, but take your time with that fight. It's a good one. You want to spend a bit of time in that one. I think it's the best one, which I don't think as a kid I would have ever said that. I definitely had it up there, but I always loved the Liquid Snake fight, and Liquid Snake is a fight that always used to be so easy to me. Now I can't do it for shit, so I don't know what went wrong there over the years. So I've had to get used to being bad at that fight now, which really depresses me. But yeah, I used to love that one, the Grey Fox one, the Metal Gear Rex one. Still quite like those, but I used to love the Hind fight, and now I don't. But Vulcan Raven, love that one to bits. It's in probably like my top 5. Which is it's quite a turnaround. It's up there with like the end boss fight for me, which might be very controversial to say. So anyway, we've finally got here Rex's lair. The music in this section, oh my god, it's perfect. They proper build up getting to Rex's lair in this game, and it is so worth the payoff. Probably more than any other moment of seeing the mechanical beast you're going to be fighting in any Metal Gear game. Because I always remember on the back of the case as a kid, there was a picture of Snake in Rex's hangar, and I used to think, man, I'll never get that far in the game, because I never did as a kid. You know, I generally just played a few levels, put some cheats on them, had a piss around. Metal Gear Solid was like the first game that I actually put serious time into trying to beat it. So it was, when I finally got to this point, it felt like such a big achievement. But yeah, I don't think they ever nailed seeing Metal Gear again, or the Shagohod in MGS3. They never felt as epic as this. This game just nailed it, because it's probably right at the end. You see MGS2 Ray really early on, and the Shagohod, by the time it's the third game, you kind of not... You've seen it and done it, so it's lost that impact. And I think you just see it through a dirty window, don't you, when you're going past as Rykov. So it's never going to feel the same. And I think they kind of knew that, which is why in MGS3 it's downplayed a little bit. So yeah, just an interesting note on that one, really. So we've got the last guard here of the game, pretty much. I don't know if this guard's as easy on the main game as he is on the alternate round. Typically I just snipe this guy, but as I say, I was going for a very low number of enemy interaction unless I was forced. So as you'll see, I'm trying to actually do this stealthy and proper. But he goes into each of these off sections and then comes immediately back. So pretty simple strategy, really. I'm trying to remember what I did now, because it's a while since I played this. I think I remember I have to go very quick I was trying to go by really quickly, I think, and he kept turning around. I just didn't have the timing right. But what the best strategy is to wait for him to do all three and then follow him. Because he's going to go all the way to where Liquid Snake will eventually run away to. So you've got quite a distance to clear. As soon as he crosses that pillar, I think I just go for it. And take care to stop now and then and look so I don't accidentally run into him. But keep tapping R1 with the stun grenades. That's the only thing to remember so you don't set him off with a sound. And you've done it. Pretty much. As you see, he's going to go all the way down there. So really easy. This will start a short cutscene. And yeah, we were immediately put into alert because we get spotted. I think I throw a stun grenade. I get... Oh, what was annoying about that is I did really well to run past the guard. And then I lied down for some reason. But yeah, just throw a stun grenade and then run away. Simple as that. And now we've got to go all the way down, which begins an incredible game of up and down these ladders to freeze the card. Real mature from me there, by the way. What do you call that? Teabagging? But yeah, it starts this incredibly tedious up and down the ladders, freezing the card, heating the card, getting it from a rat. Man, it's never as bad as I always think it's going to be, but it really drags the game down towards the end. It's alright on your first time through because it's all intriguing and lots of story stuff happens now on the codec. But on your like fifth time through, or any more times than that, man, it's so tedious, is this. But yeah, get to the last section, put your mine detector on like I just did, because your mine detector shows you where the PAL keycard is. So if a rat gets it, you can find where the rat is and set traps for it. But you can see the little dot there, which means it hasn't been taken. I guess that's because I was really quick. I don't really know, but there it is, PAL key. And that's the easiest shit ever going to do that, by the way. If you can follow that and that works for you, brilliant. But yeah, next part, guys, will be the last one. So thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.